On today's episode of Let's Grow Together, I talk with my good friend Danya, and she is a high performance, works with Olympic athletes on strength and conditioning. And we talk a lot about fitness in this episode, but it's truly amazing how much and how important fitness is in our daily lives. And we have a lot of fun. I promise you that some of the most amazing content that comes at the end. So stick around, make sure you watch and listen to this entire episode because I guarantee you're going to be fired up. You're going to be ready to go. You're going to want to go for a run. You're going to be, just very wired and energized to go after your fitness goals. So let's just dive in. You will not be disappointed. But first, the intro. Welcome to Let's Grow Together. My name is Nick Monotatabis, motivational speaker and digital marketing strategist. And this podcast is all about helping you grow both in life and business. Let's dive in. Hello! Oh, look at you moving, bobbing your head. Love it. The energy's
music, man. We should have like dun, 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 dun.
Oh, you can tell that it's going to be a party today. I love it. Love it.
Always.
So awesome. So glad you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, no problem. Danya, tell us a little bit about who you are and who you serve.
Who the heck am I? Okay. Well, my name is Danya. I am a former Olympic therapist and strength and conditioning coach. I live in Canada, and I turned that, where I was in person traveling with athletes all over the world, to working for myself, which is a fun transition, very, very scary and holy crap, personal development on steroids. But now I get to work and coach clients all over the world. So I still work with athletes or people who are performance minded, not necessarily just about physical autonomy, but also like life autonomy and growth and mindset and stuff too. So that's about a little bit about me. Let's keep it there because I could just talk about myself forever.
Yes, I love it. And I love that you mentioned, just like being a business owner and how much that is like a jump start, steroids of personal development.
So much. Yeah. Seriously,
So I love
if you want to grow, just start your own business and you will grow like you've never known before. It's amazing.
Is there something particularly like comes to your head where you're like, man, this was a huge stepping point in your growth through having your business, or anything that like specifically?
Yeah, you know what? It's just funny because so I come from a background of like work really hard and like work 4 jobs, and I'm really good at working hard and being an employee. But I actually realized, and I didn't know this until now, that autonomy is a really big theme of my life, I suppose, where I like teach people how to be physically autonomous, not rely on someone, and like learn how to fix your stuff on your own. And not that that's replacing, like there's a need. I used to practice in person, but a lot of what can happen is just on your own as long as you have good guidance. But I didn't realize that looking back, I'm actually a really bad employee because like I don't like to be told what to do necessarily. Not in a way like I wouldn't, but I was always like trying to push the bar and like do more things and want to do different things. And oftentimes when you're in a structure, like you have to follow the rules and you got to show up at this time and work these hours and you get paid this much and these clients. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of over this. So not over it, but I just wanted to do more and impact more people. And I was in a system where I was a bit stuck doing so. So when I jumped to work for myself, it was like, first of all, oh dang, I got to learn how to swim like real quick because you're on your own. That's the fun part. And it's this huge roller coaster of like what I would describe when I'm working with clients, I'm helping find their blind spots. Well, I didn't know I had certain blind spots because I was just working hard and had a safe salary job that I loved. It was my dream job to start. But when you're on your own, you're literally on your own. Like it's sink or swim kind of thing. So your blind spots get smacked right in the face of like, oh yeah, I don't know how to do that. Or how do you even do this? And so I would say that like it just was realizing how much this deeper drive inside of me to be and have autonomy over my life and when I work and who I work with and where I work and how much I can make. And that's been an underlying like silver theme for me that's really come to light in this last couple months of growing my business. So that. that answer your
Yeah,
question?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is interesting to mention like the sink or swim. I think that's such
Oh,
a
man.
funny aspect, and I can resonate with that 100% also in the wanting to do what you want to do. I had a problem with my former employee where I would ask why a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like, wait, why are we doing this? Like, can we do it this way? And like I later asked for feedback, and they basically told me that sometimes when I say that, it sounds like I'm being insubordinate,
Answering. Yeah.
even though they know that's not the case, but it still comes off that way. And I
Yeah.
was kind of like, yeah, this makes sense. I'm not really surprised because I have a way that I want to do it and there's a reason for
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
I don't like being told just do it because that's what I
What's
said
been
to
done?
do.
Yeah. Or like even I find in some structures like, oh, it's just the way we've always done it. And I'm like, well, that's like the shot of death when it comes to growth. Like, what do you mean it's the way we've always done it? Let's try something new. Let's new perspective. Like there's so many ways you can do things. So not that I loved what I did. I loved who I worked with. I just wanted that more freedom over time and location. And the more I kind of learned about online and I realized like, holy crap, I can actually help people all over the world. Like I have some athletes in Kuwait, in Australia. I'm like, I never would have, if I stayed in where I was, like you never have the chance to work with those type of people or people who might need your services, who never cross your path. So the fact that there is so much autonomy in like where you can work, who you work with, how much impact you can have, how many people can really help on a bigger scale, that was really enticing for me. So for a lot of people, I think starting your business, there's like, you look at it like, what the heck, what do I even start doing? But you do learn, and it's this huge, it's this amazing personal development on steroids where your weaknesses and your blind spots get exposed real fast, and either you fix them and you learn and grow, or you go back to a job. And so like, I didn't want to do that. So you just grow and you grow into it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing journey in how we kind of like figure things out, you know, as we go. And you know, to shift the conversation a little bit, you know, you as very much, you know, fitness is a big part of, you know, your journey. How much
Yes.
has that played into just like your own fitness, into incorporating that into your own like personal development?
Oh man. You know, what's interesting, Nick, is there's so many parallels with, I would say, for myself, but also working with athletes and then working on my own business of like being committed, being disciplined. For me, like I know I show up as my best when I take care of my body. So it's not a matter of like, oh, I have to do this workout or do this mobility. It's like, I know if I'm going to sit at my desk for 8 hours, my body's not going to feel that great. And the more like physically fit I can be, the more energy, the more clarity I'm going to have for my business, for my relationships. So it plays like it's the foundation for everything for myself. And usually what I work on with clients is like, they're usually dealing with some sort of ache or pain or just not having the energy, the strength they want to have. And most people just think like only athletes need mobility and only athletes need strength. Everyone has a body, and everyone, that is the foundation of how well you can recover and how you can show up energy wise in your business, or if you're like you're giving a talk on stage or doing lots of podcasts, like you need energy for that, and you need to create that energy somewhere. And when you have a strong foundation and your body feels good and it moves good, you just show up as your best self in other areas of your life. So it's a foundation for me for sure. And I'm a bit biased, but I think it should be a foundation for everyone, because like it's like driving a car, right? You can drive a clunky car where the muffler might be falling off and you're nervous to like go over some speed bumps and you don't know if it's going to break down on you or not. Or you can drive a car that you know is going to be safe and reliable and get you to your destination, and you can always count on. Like that's kind of what I look at the body is like, you take care of your body just like you take care and maintain your car a little bit, and it's going to take care of you and get you to your destination safely. If you don't, then when it breaks down, it sucks and it interferes with everything. Like you don't get to your destination because you're stuck on the side of the road. Well, you might not be able to show up as your best on stage or in a podcast or doing your business because you're dealing with back pain or like hot spots in your upper back, or you're tired and you have no energy. It's the same stuff. It's just, yeah. Does that make
No,
sense?
I love that. Yeah, no,
Like it's going.
I couldn't agree more. And that was such a great analogy too. And just like taking care of our body and the importance of that and the longevity. If you want your car to last long, then you need to take care of your car,
Totally.
like regular maintenance and inspection. One thing you said to me really resonated though, is you said generate energy. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, wait a minute, when you work out, you're supposed to use energy. No, wait, does it actually generate energy?
Yeah. Well, how do you feel after you do a workout? Like you typically, well, obviously there's some workouts that just like you get obliterated, but like for the most part, you don't do that style of workout every day, right? And so like, I know you're a big fan of morning routines, and a big part of what I often see people miss out in the morning is movement. So we're going from a state of like sleeping, relaxing to now like maybe you spend some time meditating, whatever it might be. But then you need to like kickstart your body and like generate some energy. So in order to do that, you need to move a bit, get your blood flow going, get the endorphins going. And typically after you do whatever your style of workout is, whether it's a nice walk, yoga, lifting weights, a HIIT class, whatever, you typically feel more energized after. And so then you can use that energy into your relationships, into your business, into your, live, everything. So yeah, it's the first, when people are starting on their fitness journey or starting on their health journey, the first couple weeks to a month just kind of suck. Let's be real. But once you get past that point, you don't have those like aches when you're trying to start running, and you actually feel good and you feel strong, and you start like being able to actually use that to your advantage instead of it like holding you back. But most people just don't get over that first couple weeks to a month where it sucks. Like you're getting your body doing something you haven't done before. But once you get past that point, holy hat damn, like you'll be like, how did I not do this? How's this not part of my day? Because it makes you feel so good and energized. And like I said, like if you feel good and you move good, you show up well and you perform your best, not just as an athlete, but like every facet of your life.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. It's amazing. Like, just the way that you move your body and how much that affects your day. And I think it is important too, like not to overdo it. Cause I've done that too, where I like wake up and I run too much and then I'm like, I'm so dead. I just want to like lay
Yeah.
on the couch.
Go back to
Like,
bed.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, Nick, you ran 8 miles. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
So I was training for a half marathon. So at that time,
No, you
so
gotta
yeah.
run some more miles then. Yeah. Well, I think like as business owners, like you think about a lot of us sit at a desk all day, and it's just easy to just like sink in and get complacent and like get in the kind of autopilot mode, and you just feel tired. And it's not like, okay, you have to do this like massive workout. No, just like you're a fan of Brendan Bouchard, I'm 99% sure. He says, get up every 50 minutes, just get up and change your state, like just generate some energy. And so whenever we're feeling in this funk, not only from a performance and creativity perspective, but also from a movement perspective, it's going to help prevent a lot of aches and pains that literally most come from just not doing stuff, not moving your body enough. So cool. As a business owner, you'll see I probably get up and down on this, like I'm standing right now, but I'll probably get up and down 50 times off this chair. And that's just a habit I have where I'm just trying to keep my body constantly moving, to keep my energy up and to keep my, my creative juices flowing versus like just sitting and like, gosh, because I don't know, ask your audience, when you sit at a desk for 8 hours, I don't think anyone feels amazing at the end of the day. Like you feel tired or you feel stiff and sore your neck or tension. Cool, let's break it up with like a simple 1-minute break. You just stand up and reset and then get back to work. That energy is going to carry through in your work. You'll be more productive and not as sore, stiff, or achy throughout your day. Super easy.
I love that. Let's talk about that more.
Like,
yeah.
You're like frowning and you're like, oh no, I said something wrong.
I was making a note of it because it was such a good point in just like how important it is to like do some exercise during your day. Like what is there certain things like, so I stand, I'm standing right now. I love to stand.
Yeah,
I have a
love it.
standing desk. And it is so important to move, but do you have like things that you do throughout the day to help like with that?
Oh, so much so. Yeah. And like from a therapy, so injury perspective, I cannot tell you enough, like physical autonomy can really be achieved if we just gain a bit of body awareness and also just do like simple movements in your day. It does not take a 10-hour workout. It does not take these like, oh, now I have to plan this like session out of your workday. Just incorporate into your workday these simple movements, and they're going to be changing because every day you might be feeling tension or stiffness somewhere else differently, right? But the biggest thing for me, I move a lot already. Like I'm up and down in a chair. But for typical people who just kind of sit in a nice office chair, you're just sitting in one position. So if you literally just stood up every hour and just did something the opposite motion. So can you see me? I don't know. This is the headphone trouble. I'm like so close to the computer. So most of us sit in a comfy position, right? And there's nothing wrong with that for short periods of time. What happens though is most of us tend to sit in this like crappy posture. And it's not to say you have to have perfect posture. The perfect posture is movement. Your body just loves movement. So if you're going to sit in this position for 8 hours, you can't not expect that this is going to be stiff. Your neck might be a bit stiff because you haven't moved. So if you can literally just sit up, like stand up and then open up the opposite way, and I'll go through, if you want, we can go through some drills, but there's like easy like chest pull through drills you can do, just get some joints moving, get blood flow going. You can do like wall slides, you can do a squat right in your chair. You don't have to like, especially if you work in an office with lots of people, I get it, people don't want to look weird. So just be, you know, in your chair doing these little things like neck rolls, opening up, rotating, simple movements in your day. People will overwrite and be like, oh, that's not going to actually do anything. Well, let me tell you, it does. It does a lot for your body and the longevity of your health and keeping your joints happy, not stiff, not achy, creating energy just by having some simple movements and create some blood flow and get that stiffness of those joints out of the way, which is going to go a long way in helping your body stay mobile and stay injury free and have energy for the rest of your day. Dude, you gotta cut me off. I'll just talk forever.
No, it's great. I can keep going. No, I love it. I don't cut people off. This is your show.
Oh man,
this is your episode. No, I love it. And like, you know, when people want to check stuff out, they can follow you. But I think it's really important that, like, one of the things that you mentioned was like it really sucks when you first get started. And I think that is so true. And I actually did a live about it recently because I started running and I hadn't ran in a while. I had been biking and I was like, man, this is horrible. Like the first half mile specifically, I'm like, how far have I gone? I'm like, a half mile. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Why am I so dead? And it's like, well, it just takes time to like, for it not to, you know, suck.
Your body's just not used to it, right? Like your joints aren't used to that impact. Your muscles aren't used to doing that movement. So yeah, the first, like, I don't know what kind of bike you have. I have a road bike. So when I go from not riding my road bike to road bike, if anyone's listening and has a road bike, you know that you typically wear a butt pad. So you wear these shorts that have cushioning in them. Well, even if you have one of those, I guarantee you your butt's going to be sore for the first like 5 rides or more. And it sucks. It feels like it's painful to sit in your seat. But once you get over that part, your body gets used to that. So it doesn't hurt as much. So then you can enjoy riding and not the pain that is associated with riding. With running, I'm the same thing. I'm getting back to running right now. And for me, the ego wants to just run, but knowing my body, I need to do like a walk run. Physically, I'm more capable of doing more than that. But I know if I do more than that, guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to be able to walk for a few days and it's going to suck crappy. So if I just gradually make some progression and walk, jog, what I'm doing is I'm allowing my body to actually adapt to the stimulus I'm giving it and get stronger. And I'm reducing the suck a little bit, but my legs will still be sore. My feet will still be sore. And it's tricky because the first couple of weeks do suck, unfortunately. And you're focused more on the aches and pains, obviously not injury, but more just your body's like, what the frick are you doing to me? Like, I don't want to do this. We're used to sitting and I'm moving my body. But once you get over that, then you actually enjoy the movement itself and running becomes enjoyable, not distracted by the cramping, the sore feet, all that stuff too. But you have to get over that first couple of weeks of suck. Like, that's just it. It sucks.
Yeah. No, and it is. Yeah. But I think, you know, the thing that to remind people of too, I feel is like, even on those early days, you know, in those early weeks, is like afterwards, you feel amazing.
Yeah. You can actually enjoy running. You can actually enjoy what you're meant to be doing instead of like, this sucks. But like, so Nick, this is beautiful because it applies to everything. Anytime you do something new in life, the growing period sucks. Like, so for example, the first time I went live, okay, I'm so happy I wore a black shirt because so again, I used to work with Olympic athletes, deal with like high stress situations. It was like, you got coaches on you, you got to get people ready for competition, injuries, all this stuff going on. And here I am sitting with my little camera and this red button and I'm sweating my butt off because I'm terrified to press the record button. Like, how do I give presentations on stage, but I can't press the record button to go live, right? The first couple lives I did sucked. It's the growing pain of like getting back into running. Your body, it sucks. But once you do it, you actually enjoy going live. You enjoy bringing people on, having conversation. It becomes so much easier. So it doesn't matter if we're just talking about physical sense. It's anything we do that's new to our habits, our routines, our business, or a new hobby we want to try, a new sport we want to try. The growing period is is necessary, and it can have pain associated with it. But once you get over that, it's beautiful, you know?
Yeah. I always find too, like once I start working out, I start just being like, I feel amazing. I feel like a
Mhm.
superhero after working out consistently,
Yeah.
where you're just like, you feel strong, you feel powerful. You're like, you wonder why you're so happy. And it's like, no kidding. Like, this is why
Yeah.
you need exercise in your life, because it changes your,
Everything.
emotional state also. I know you didn't touch on that, but I'm sure you could
So much.
elaborate
Yeah.
more on that.
And you actually start to crave it because it's something that you notice at how much of a difference it makes in your life. Like you actually start to crave like moving your body, and whether it's a run or mobility or yoga, you will notice like how much of a difference it does make on yourself and how you show up. It's huge. We can talk, oh man, I could jam on this like for years, so be careful. But it not only emotional, for some people it's the physical aspect of it, but it does, like for me, a huge part of lifting weights is like it's therapeutic. Like if I'm having a bad day and I can go throw some weight around, man, does that ever feel good to get the stress and aggression out in a healthy way? Then I leave feeling better. There's so many, like if you just Google the benefits of exercise, the list is endless. And it applies to physical, emotional, like anxiety, stress, depression, all that stuff. And the beautiful thing is it's free. Like you can literally exercise in your small condo, go for a walk outside. It's the number one thing that's associated with like reducing all crazy chronic diseases, and all the stuff is just moving your body. It's beautiful.
Love
Beautiful.
it. Yes, I agree. This is amazing. Yeah, it is. And it's tough sometimes to get started, but then
Oh
again,
yeah.
having that consistency. And I love what you talked about too, like when you're not feeling good, working out is one of the best things. That's something I noticed that I do also, that I
Mm-hmm.
recommend that other people start to make a habit, is like when you feel your worst, you make it a habit to work out,
Yeah.
because it's just such a good, most people's habit when they feel bad is like, all right, let me eat some ice
Watch
cream, let me
Netflix.
drink some alcohol, yeah,
Yeah.
eat Netflix. Like you can do
Yeah.
those things, but like work out first, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And this is, I love it that you tell people that, because for me, if I feel, let's use the word stuck or overwhelmed or just not feeling my, and not in rhythm or whatever it might be, like I just don't feel very good that day, a workout could simply just be going for a walk. Like again, just change your state. So if I'm sitting on a computer and I'm doing this and I'm just, man, like this is feeling like I'm pushing a boulder up Mount Everest and I've got a headache or whatever it might be, I just need to change my state. And so I just need to generate energy with movement. So it doesn't even mean like, oh, go do this hour workout. Just get up, go get some fresh air, move your body. And I guarantee you when you come back, you'll be in a different state and you can make different decisions. Whether that is, okay, my body still needs rest. Let's watch Netflix and eat ice cream, whatever. Or and now I'm actually kickstarting myself back into having some energy and clarity. I can get back onto what I was doing, right? But just again, simple movements in your day, it just goes a long way for everything. And oftentimes people don't look to that first because they're like, well, I just don't have the hour in the day. Oh, I didn't bring workout clothes. You don't need that stuff. Just do some simple movements. Go for a walk. But it plays a
Yeah.
huge part for every aspect of life.
Yeah, if people are wondering why they get home from work and they don't have energy, it's most likely because they were, sitting for 8 hours, not doing anything, and how much
Yeah.
that's such an important aspect to just like get up, move around. I mean, one thing too that makes it really easy and forces you to move around, if you drink a lot of water, then you're
Heck yeah.
forced to keep
Yeah.
going to the bathroom.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah, I love it. And like that's even another point. Most people aren't even hydrated. Like when I talk to most, not athletes, most of them have that stuff dialed down. But if I talk to clients who are newer to movement or business people who are run like entrepreneurs or small business owners, they'll like say, "Oh, I drink an average of like 5 cups a day of water." I'm like, "Oh man, like you don't even have, your body needs necessary things to function well." Okay, we'll go back to the car example. It's like fuel for a car is like nutrition and food for the body, right? You need to eat whole foods and nutritious foods that are going to give your body energy. I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to dive more into that, but I know enough about when you eat crappy food, you typically feel tired or crappy after. Okay, let's think about water for the body is like oil for your car. You need oil for your car to function. If you don't, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have smoking coming out your car. It's going to break down at some point. Just like water's involved in almost every cellular process of the body. So when you are not drinking enough water, again, if you're listening to this podcast, you most likely have the luxury of having water nearby you have access to. guess what? It's going to affect how that car performs. It's going to affect how your body shows up. So again, a simple free thing you have access to, just drinking enough water in your day is going to long term make big differences in your decision making and your clarity, because you're giving it your body what it needs in order to perform its best. And you can get up and move more, which is good, because you drink a lot of water, then good, there's your movement break, go to the bathroom.
And there's a lot of tricks that you can do too. You can set like all the smartwatches now to have like alarms. You can set it on your phone to like remind you. It's all about like creating the routine. You mentioned Brendan Bouchard, and I am a huge fan. I talk about him often. He talks about the 50 minutes. So if you set in your day like 50 minutes, all right, well, when that 50 minutes hits and you stop, drink a bunch of water, move your body, make that your habit. And by the time that next 50 minutes rolls around, you're probably going to have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, when I need some things.
Wait, what is that?
It's a time thing.
Oh my gosh.
Come on. So like,
no,
find what works for you. You can have a sticky note, you can have a phone going off. Sometimes I know I'm being really bad and I just am like, I'm noticing I'm getting tired and I need a reminder. This goes in front of my computer. When it gets to the bottom, guess what? It's my break, get up and move kind of thing. So whether it's an alarm or a sticky note, or you buy one of these funny things that, I don't know how much this thing costed, $20. Anyways, look, it's filling up, and then when it's full, I move.
That's so cool, because you're seeing it consistently. I never even thought to use something like that. It's like, this is for people who are listening. It's like when the sand falls through an hourglass. It's called an hourglass. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, you learn this in kindergarten. But yeah, no, it's a really cool, like, because a lot of times people are trying to like separate themselves from their phone, and it's always constantly buzzing. So like that's a great kind of solution to just like, boom, flip it over, you see it, and then you're reminded too. You're like, you see it and you go, oh, go back to work. Don't get distracted, go back, because you're going to be working for that hour straight without taking a break. So wow, yeah, cool. That's a great little great tip right there. Utilize. I didn't expect.
Full of tricks, Nick. Full of tricks. No.
Yeah, who knew? Hourglass, dropping
the biggest
bombs.
Thing, like, just make it simple and easy. Like, there's so many things you have access to that, and if you don't know, you reach out and get someone to help you guide you through it. But yeah, like whatever works for you. Some people really love an alarm on their phone going off, and some people that drives them insane. Okay, well, find what works for you. Is it a sticky note right by your mouse? Is it, I don't know, an hourglass? Like, just find the simple things and keep things simple. Like, don't overcomplicate stuff. And again, just do things consistently over a period of time, and you're going to watch how your body feels, how your mentality feels, how your energy is. And that's the benefits you start associating with, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense why I have to get up. But to like logically tell someone, it's almost like, what does James use all the time? That swimming analogy. Okay, so I work with the national swim team. I can tell you technique, I can tell you biomechanics, I can tell you all the ins and outs of that. Great, that's like reading a book on swimming. Can I physically swim like them? No, I probably should wear water wings and I can't swim at all. So it's one thing to like hear what we're saying, but until you actually do it and feel the rewards and see how easy it can be, it's a whole other thing. So like whoever's listening, take what we're saying and actually apply it and see how your body feels even after a few days, after a week. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, okay. It's one thing to listen, but then to actually do and feel and experience, it's a whole nother level.
Yeah. And one thing you mentioned that is by far like such a key ingredient is the consistency, like you mentioned, like moving your body around and doing it like periodic throughout the day, where you're like, all right, well, is that going to work like the one day? Like, maybe a little bit, but like if you do it every day, imagine how much that just compounds to a spiral effect. Like,
and if you want to talk about injuries and aches and pains, with low back pain being the most common people experience, 80% or more, you guys, most of this comes down to people aren't aware and don't move their body enough. And it's not crazy workouts. It's just simple habits throughout the day that we can ignore this, but then you're just going to be in my clinic the next day or in 5 years or 10 years time. And we're going to go back to all these simple things of like, just move your body a little bit more each day. A little bit here and there goes such a long way in preventing these like nasty aches and pains that sideline you and stop you from playing your sport, or stop you from showing up business, or stop you from playing with your kids on the floor. That is so preventable if you just start now with where you're at. Doesn't matter what age you are, and just start these simple habits. That's going to go a long way in the longevity of your health. So take it from me as a therapist. Okay. Do it. I don't want to see
Yes.
you on my table. I want to see you
Yes.
active with your kids and your business and everything. So
Get out there, move your body. Hopefully you're like out there walking right now or running, listening to this podcast, or
right.
you're sitting
Oh,
in your
so
chair
good.
and you're like, oh man, I need to move around a bit. Maybe you even got up while you were listening to this. You're
Oh
like, I
man.
definitely need to move around. I hope that was the case because I can't imagine you listen to this and not realize how effective that like just simple body movements, like standing up and moving around can make such a massive difference. And
Yeah.
one thing I always talk about is, again, you've mentioned it a bunch of times, like the habits, it needs to become a habit.
Yeah.
If like setting up routines throughout your day that incorporate the movement into your day and
Yeah.
how you go about doing that. But if you don't make it a habit, you're going to forget about it. You need to like set reminders, like, use different things to help you. Don't just,
Yeah.
rely on your memory
Yeah. It's not
to,
going to work.
yeah.
And every time you're going to be like, you're always going to choose like the easier option. Like it always happens. And I love to explain this either in two ways. So I don't know what your audience is, whether they're more like, I usually explain it by dribbling a basketball. Like, so I used to play basketball, or it's like learning how to instrument, right? Anytime you're doing something new or trying to install a new habit, it's like going back to when you first, if any of you know this, hopefully I'm not reaching too far, when you first learn to play a sport, or for me it was basketball. When you first start, it's frustrating. You have to focus so much energy on it. Like you suck. It's like you're not going to do it perfectly the right time. For me, it's like looking down at the ball, dribbling with two hands, to eventually like, okay, practicing enough times so eventually it's becoming a bit more consistent. I can now maybe look up, and then with time, now I'm dribbling with one hand and then both hands separately, and then I can do tricks. And then it becomes so much a part of who you are that you can just play basketball without having to focus so much intensely on dribbling, right? You just play. With habits, it takes a lot more focus to build, and it's frustrating, and it's like energy up front. But when they become automatic, you don't have to think about it. It just becomes part of your day, right? So if people play instruments, like you don't just play the piano and learn a few keys and then you're a master. You have to go through that, like the awkward phase of putting a ton of focus, learning what the keys are, where to put your hands, but then eventually with practice, you just play it and it just shows up and it's part of your day and it's easy to do. Same thing with these habits. It's this initial get off your butt inertia of spend the energy, spend the time focusing on building the habit, and then knowing that eventually the more consistent you stay with it, the better you get. The easier it gets, the less you have to focus on it, and it's easy.
Yeah, your body starts to like yell at you. I know
Yeah.
for me, like I've gotten in the routine where when it hits like 6 o'clock, it's like time for run, get out there, like start moving.
Yeah.
I'm like something's up. Oh, it's because it's 6 o'clock and
Yeah.
it's time to stop working and it's time to go for a run and start moving. Like my body knows. And I also have struggled with lower back pain my whole like for a very long time.
Dude, we
Even,
got to talk.
yeah. Well, I made a mistake when I tried to be Mr. Tough Guy, Mr. Strong Guy, and carry a fridge
Everyone
up,
does.
3 flights of steps, and it hurt because I
Yeah.
wasn't. I used to work for a moving company, so I probably made some
Yeah.
mistakes then. But this was a time where I hadn't been moving furniture, and I just tried to act like I was when I was, in my prime, and so then I just like it's never been the same. It's never been
Yeah.
the same. But the difference was that I started incorporating daily things. I
Movement.
bought a standing desk for both at the office for my former job where I was there. I actually still need to pick it out, or I might sell it to them. But anyway, the point is that I had one for the office and for
Yeah.
home. I made it such a huge priority
Yeah.
knowing. And when I like sit and I'm not standing that night or the next day, I'm like, my back hurts. And it's like, yeah, Nick, because you didn't stand today. It's like
Yeah.
such a clear difference. It's like
Yeah.
not even a comparison.
And the right there where you said the awareness piece, like that is the biggest thing. It's the awareness of like, okay, so whoever's listening right now, just start taking inventory of your day. Like how often you're actually sitting in your day, and you'd be surprised. So if you have to drive to work, you're sitting in your car, and then most of us sit at work for like 8 hours a day, and then we drive home, and then we sit and have dinner, and then we sit and watch Netflix. Like you're spending so much of your day sitting that people aren't aware of it. So when we start having this awareness piece of like, holy crap, I sit like 16 hours a day and then I go to bed and I lie down, like you're not actually taking your body through simple movements, different types of movements. Like there's lots of ranges of motion of the body, But again, you can correct and fix that and then prevent all these like little aches and pains in the future by just doing simple things and having that awareness piece of like, okay, when I sit, which Nick, we can talk about, we can later, like you should be able to sit without back pain, but it's great because you've made a connection of like, okay, when I sit later that day, my back's bothering me. So now I need to be awareness of standing. Cool. You've made that link, right? That's perfect. Most people just don't know. And they just kind of go on autopilot and be like, oh, my back just hurts. My neck hurts. And they just like, this is it now. This is the new normal. And I'm like, no, it's not the new normal. We just need to give you some awareness and give you some simple strategies of how to improve that. Because man, going through life with like restrictions, aches and pains, not being able to do what you want to do and have the freedom of your body to like play those sports or play with your kids, or, you know, go on vacation or that hike without worrying about something, essentially your body getting in the way of doing what you want to do. That's frustrating, but, and that's a big passion of mine to help people learn that, because it comes down to these simple awareness, simple movement pieces that people think, oh my gosh, I have to do all these things. And you really don't. It's just the awareness piece is the first part. And the second piece is incorporating simple stuff in your day. So good connection for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, incorporating it is like creating more habits. Like, you know, I've actually been slacking recently. I'm in a new environment, so then like the habit also often changes. But like I love stretching in the morning and stretching at night before I go to sleep, and it can make such a dramatic difference over time. You know, you start to realize like, oh, I'm starting to get like more flexible. It's like, oh wow, really? Like you stretch every day and you get more flexible? No, that can't, like people who say like, oh, I don't run or I'm not flexible. And it's like, well, because you don't run and you don't stretch, that's why you're not those things.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're making that choice,
yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, being a fitness person again, like, and I think the running analogy is great because a lot of times people say I'm not runners. And it's like, well, because you haven't committed to actually being like, I am a runner, identifying as a runner, or just like, again, starting off walking, you know, like crawl, walk, run. You don't have to just like start going out there.
And the thing is like, you're going to want to, so your ego is going to be like, oh, just go harder. And this, you need to make this workout, you know, worth it. And, you know, you can push yourself harder than this. That's fine. But I guarantee the next couple of days, you're either not going to be able to walk for a few days because you're going to be so tight and jacked up, or you're going to get injured. So like honoring that there's a progression and that you don't have to just go from it's not an all or nothing thing. It's health is a long game. Your body is a long game. So just start small. And if you haven't been walking or anything before, good. Literally go out for a 10-minute walk and start there. And you're going to be like, this is stupid. Well, yeah, okay, I mean, it feels stupid, but what you're actually doing is one, trying to create a habit, but two, you're starting to get your body used to something. And again, if anytime you're doing something new in life, whatever it's like learning an instrument, learning a new business system, speaking for the first time on stage, moving your body, you don't just go from being a beginner to an expert. Your body, your mind, everything needs time to actually adapt to get used to that stimulus in order for you to get good at something. So from an injury perspective, you actually need to give your tissues, your joints, your muscles, your bones time to adapt to what you're imposing on it, which is stress. The exercise is stress, but good stress for the body. But you can't just go from sitting on a couch to like sprinting, because that's going to be way too much stress. And then your body's going to freak out and say, whoa, don't do this anymore. And guess what? You're going to end up quitting because you hate it because you're in so much pain. Yeah, dial it back. Just start simple, start small, and progress into it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, stop trying to sprint and just like take it slow, you know, one day at a time. And I think that works with everything in life too, and just like everything that you're doing. You mentioned earlier like the live videos. It's like, all right, well, you don't have to go live for an hour right away. Just like, you know, go for a minute and give it a try and start getting better at it, you know, practicing. You're not going to be good at something you've never done before, you know.
No.
You'd think that is something people don't know, but I feel like it's necessary to reiterate and say over and over again to people.
And for some reason, like especially with exercise and physical activity, people just don't see that. They don't see it as like, it's like learning a new skill. You can't just go from, we're talking about running, you can't go from being on the couch to running and be a runner. Like you need to actually get physically fit enough to run. As in, you need to give your muscles, your joints, your bones, your tissues a chance to actually strengthen and get strong enough to handle the impact of running, right? So most people don't understand that there is a progression, and they don't think it's a skill required to actually get your body used to an exercise. And it totally is. And so they either be like, I'm not a runner, I don't exercise. It's just because you haven't been shown the right way to do it, or you're doing an all or nothing approach and you hate it in your first day. Maybe you've tried it for a week and you're like, this still sucks. Of course it still sucks. But if you keep going with that and you have the right guidance and progression, you will see, like, you get energized, you feel strong, and it just affects, like, again, just trust me on this, people. Like, you will start to love it and crave it, and you'll notice how much of a difference it makes in every aspect of your life, right? But most people don't even give themselves a chance to feel that. They just go through the sucky part, and then they're like, this is crap still, and they just dip off before you even get to the benefits of what it feels like to exercise without feeling aches and pains. And it feels good, you know?
Yeah, it feels amazing. And
So
you're actually happier. It's
yeah,
like, oh, is there a pill for
endorphins.
happiness? No, but there
Exercise.
is like exercise. Yeah, I know.
It is. It's actually like, again, I'm not a clinical psychologist, but if you read the research, exercise is used for so many, like, anxiety, depression, because it releases what's called the happy hormones, endorphins in your body, right? And so again, it's something free. You can do anywhere, anytime, start at any level, and just baby step it in. But you're going to notice, like, you do feel happy when you exercise because your body's releasing chemicals that are happy chemicals. And it's like, well, it's great. Do that. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Except,
you think? Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, except, like, I'm not going to lie, I don't always love working out with people, and I don't like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go do this hard workout and just love it. No, there's times where I'm complaining and I'm like, this sucks. But I know after, mentally, from achieving that and, like, physically pushing myself to something further that I didn't think I was capable of doing, there's, like, feeling of this achievement and, like, resilience, and you build this mental strength. And there's so many more benefits to exercise than just the physical, but you don't ever give yourself a chance to experience those until you actually get to the point of, like, pushing yourself and realizing how much more exercise gives to the person on not just a physical sense, but every other aspect. And it's not to say you always have to love it. There's days I freaking hate it, but I know that what it does for my body, and I know what it's going to do for the long-term longevity of my body. And I don't know about you, but Nick, I don't want to be in a care home where someone has to, like, take care of me. I want to be as independent and physically active as long as I can into my late years. And that starts with how you take care of your body right now. So if you ever want, like, a wake-up call, go visit your grandma in the care home. There's people who don't really take care of themselves now, and it shows later on in life, because of course there's other things that can get in the way, but part of it, of independence, is just taking care of your body now. You see, like, man, I have some friends' grandparents who are like 80 and still hiking, like, the Himalayan trails and, like, doing gymnastics. Why can they do that? Because they started taking care of the body, simple strategies now, so that way later on in life they're independent, they're active, they're not relying on someone else to take care of them for themselves. And I don't know about you, but I want to give myself the best chance I got of being like that, and it starts with just simple stuff now.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be 100, and feeling
100 and
great.
moving, like,
Yeah.
power walking. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you brought up the care home example too, because I actually I've worked in the industry.
Me too.
A lot of my clients, my coaching clients, are in the industry, so they work specifically, with seniors that need help. And my former boss, I'll never forget one of the stories, that was how he actually had a dramatic fitness transition, because he started working in the industry. He saw that the people that were in the home that were younger, or were, like, in their 70s and 80s, were much heavier, and the people who were 90 and 95 were fit. And it was like, this isn't a coincidence. There's a reason for this. Like, if you could add 10 years of, like, good living, just by making the steps now. Yeah.
So many benefits.
Moving.
And, like, this is the other crazy thing. We talk about future and health. Like, the number one, I forget if it's a death or, like, predisposer of death for seniors, is falling. Okay, cool. Well, what constitutes falling? Strength, stability, and balance. Okay, cool. Are those things we can work on and have control over? Yes. So you're telling me if I just work on a little bit of strength and stability, I'm going to be able to prevent myself from falling, which is going to cause a hip fracture in a senior person. And that's literally a death sentence for someone in their senior years. Falling and a hip fracture, something totally preventable, right? So all these big, scary things that are out there, again, it comes down to the root cause of, like, be aware and simple strategies, and just take care of your body. and you're telling me you could live longer, be happier, be independent. I don't know who the heck doesn't want to take that up, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I can't believe you just shared that story, because I literally talk about that all the time whenever I present to the senior market. I always talk about fall prevention, like how much they should be educating their audience about how to prevent falls so they can literally save lives. And I
Seriously.
have a personal story about that too. So my grandfather, he had Parkinson's, and
Mhm.
one of the things that, yeah, I knew he was getting sick, and at this point he was still like with it a little bit, but not like fully with it. And I just asked him, I wanted to know, I was like, hey, is there anything that you regret? Which is like an interesting question to ask somebody who's older.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
so at first he said no. He's like, no, I've had a great life. I've had, I was able to do a ton of things. And then he kind of was like, well, if there's one thing, I wish that I was a little bit more fit, and exercise, took
Mm,
it a little bit more serious, because then I wouldn't have fallen. It's
seriously.
like, oh
It's
man, like,
heartbreaking. Oh, it's
yeah,
heartbreaking because like it's heartbreaking in a sense for me, and it like nothing grinds my gears more or makes me more upset when people have to experience preventable injuries or aches and pains, knowing that there's simple solutions for that, not for everything but for so many things. And yeah, that story of like, and I also want to reiterate, it's never too late to start. So I worked with a client who was in her late 70s, had a hip replacement. She didn't do anything for rehab. I don't know what happened. She got discharged and didn't do anything. So she's got a brand new hip, and hip surgery is, don't even YouTube it. It's aggressive. Like you're chopping into the bone and the muscles. And so she couldn't walk. This poor lady could not walk. And so it took us about a year, but she's now walking an hour without her poles and like it has her independence back. So she goes from that. Moral of the story is like you can always improve no matter where you're at. The body is super, super resilient, but you have to give it a chance. You have to be consistent over the long game, but you can improve. So now this lady goes from not being able to walk, hip replacement, to having her freedom back, walking with confidence, not feeling the fear of falling over, breaking her other hip. And again, it just comes back to like having awareness and simple solutions of just doing little things for your body that can really go a long way of like, yeah, adding 10 years to your life, not having a death sentence of a hip fracture, being independent, all those things. Like your physical independence is so important and you have control over that. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to like wait for someone else to rely on someone else. Like you physically can learn that now and start implementing these habits into your day. I don't know who doesn't want that. Like, hello. Like, I just want to shake everyone like, come on, you can have such a good quality of life and you can prevent all this stuff and it can improve and it can be better and you can get resilient. But that starts with someone taking the first step and the first action and getting through the sucky period of the first couple of weeks of like, this is hard, this sucks, I'm not used to it, but I guarantee if you keep going, man, the other side of it's beautiful.
wow, yeah, that was awesome. That was powerful, I think.
Danny ramp. Rant.
No, but it is, and I'm so passionate about that too. I love like
I didn't know you
that
did
that
that, by the
you
way.
are
That's
too.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Team talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I do it all the time, and like that's the
What?
one specifically. Yeah,
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah. So that's so awesome, cool. Just physical fitness, do stuff, people. Like if you, why are you listening? Go run or something,
Move. Yeah.
No, this is awesome. I'm so glad like where this conversation went, and going into that
So random.
transition is like so amazing. And I think this is like a really powerful episode to just think about, like, do you want more freedom? Do you want a longer life? Do you want more like, you know, healthier? Like, I mean, how could you not want all of those
More
things?
energy to feel stronger, to feel good. Like, it's so fun too, because if you start doing certain things, you're like, you start getting confident, you start challenging yourself and trying new things. It's like certain things come to you when you feel and trust you. First of all, when you trust your body and you feel strong and capable, like the world's your oyster of what you can challenge yourself to try and do. But when you don't have that trust, or you have these like aches and pains, restrictions, you're not really sure, or you're like, I'm not an athlete and I don't, I'm not this runner, I'm not this. And like, well, the beautiful thing is anything can change, anything can improve. Your body is super resilient. So if you want those things, if there's like whispers of like, I'd really like to have more energy and I'd really like to feel confident and I'd really like to feel stronger, live longer and healthier, cool. You absolutely have the capability of doing that. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
start with anything complicated. It's like simple stuff.
Yeah,
And we'll
and the
see
one
where.
thing you touched on too, that we didn't talk too much about, was like the confidence thing. It's like man, when you start like working out and feeling better and losing weight, then like all these other things are side effects,
Totally.
positive side effects, and benefits. I guess benefits is a better word.
Yeah.
Um, that come with, taking action and making fitness a priority. If you
Yeah.
don't make it a priority, then it's not
It's
gonna
not gonna happen.
happen.
What's that saying?
And
Plan to fail, fail to plan. No.
yeah,
Fail to plan, plan to fail. Like if you don't plan
if you
it.
fail to
Yeah.
plan, you plan to fail. Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
why like I love Nick, I love working with like heart-centered entrepreneurs or small business owners because I know the foundation of how they show up in confidence and just how they have show up with energy. Like you think of someone like a car just got hit up front. He backed. I know, as much as his car parallel park. I'm like, he's gonna hit him. He just did. Sorry. But you think of these like Brendan Bouchard, he talks about this all the time. He runs like a marathon every day of his whatever, his live event. Do you know how fit that guy has to be to put on the live events and to create the impact and ripple effect on all those other people? Like he actually, you've probably heard of that. He wears a
Hmm.
wristband. It's like, I burn enough calories to have run a marathon today. These leaders who are heart-centered, who want to show up and make impacts in the world, you have to have your body perform at its best. That's a necessary thing. If it's not performing on all cylinders, it's going to affect and impair how you show up and lead, and the impact you're going to have on those other people you're working with. So for me, like I'm passionate about helping people learn the tools, learn the awareness, but also because I know the ripple effect it's going to cause on the quality of their life and then how they show up and lead their businesses and their people they lead. And it's just this beautiful ripple effect that occurs, you know?
Yeah, and then it can happen too, just like among your family too. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people that are overweight, it's like, yeah, you have overweight children, but if you start taking action in your fitness, then your kids are going to start to
Role
want to do
model.
it too.
Yeah.
And it's just so important to show that representation, for everyone around you. I mean, I know I don't take the credit, but one of my roommates like started getting into shape, and I think a lot of it was because I was like giving him a hard time, and then I was getting out, and he's like, "Oh man, I
Leading by example.
need to start doing some stuff." As
Yeah.
much as you can tell someone to like, dude, start working out, it's gonna be much more better if it's just like, "Hey, do you want
Yeah.
to come work out with me?"
Yeah.
Like that's the difference.
Yeah. Lead by
And
example. Totally.
maybe there's somebody else out there that that does
Yep.
work out. Like reach out to them. Get
So true.
that buddy, that partner to help give you the kick and the push that you need.
Accountability, the boost, totally. And I think like the big misconception too, I in the world I deal with is aesthetics and having aesthetic goals. And for me, like I will say it's more important for me how your body moves and feels. Like if your body's holding you back in some capacity or it's not performing the way you want to perform, that's the problem. People who are chasing aesthetic goals, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's like governing every decision of your life, like, oh, you need to have abs, you need to have this, you can be perfectly healthy and not have abs. You don't need to chase these like physical stereotypes of what you might think is deemed like society and health is so effed up. I don't even want to get down this rabbit hole. But you should be asking yourself is my body moving and feeling like I want it to, or is it holding me back? Like when I go on vacation, is there fear of something? Am I not able to keep up with my friends or my kids on a hike? Is there certain things that are like physically holding you back? That's what I want to attack is like, how do we make your body feel good and move good and not be held back from doing what you want to do in life? I don't give a crap what you look like. I care about how you feel, how you move, and what you want to do in life. And if something getting in the way, holding you back, cool, let's fix that. Not to say having a side of muscles and abs as a benefit or like a side effect is wrong. Nothing's wrong with that. But I find most people just chase like, I want to look a certain way. I want to weight a certain number. Where for me, I'm like, no, how does it feel? How do you move? Do you feel like crap during the day? Are you in pain during the day? Can you do that hike? Can you go on that vacation? Can you, that's the stuff that I value and really, I don't know, pride myself on helping people achieve, realizing that your body is meant to feel good and meant to perform well. If you want abs on the side, cool, but that's not what I'm going to work with people of like, I want to just get shredded. And that's a cool goal, but it's not the driving goal of who I typically work with. It's like, I want to perform my best and my body's not performing how I want it to. Okay, cool. Let's tackle that. Then once we get that in order, if you want to have that side of abs too, or abs come with it, whatever. But just figure out what's driving you in your goals and really ask yourself, Is something holding me back? Is my body holding me back? And if it is, then cool. We can address it and work on it. Start from that place.
Yes.
Because let me
Love it.
tell you, Nick, there's some like powerful, like, I don't know if you've even seen, like, if you've seen power lifters, Olympic lifters, those guys are effing strong and powerful, but they don't look, I'm doing air quotes, they don't look in shape. They don't look the part of like the athlete. They don't look the part of what society is deemed healthy. But those people, like, I don't know, blood pressure and stuff too, but there's a beautiful viewpoint on like how your body moves and feels and performs is more important than what it looks like. And that's the biggest thing I want to take away from people, is knowing that you don't, whoever deemed what the perfect body looks like is whatever. Like, society is crazy. Just know, is your body moving and feeling and performing as its best? And if you want change there, then work on that side, and then other stuff kind of comes if you want it to. Does that make sense? I feel like I just confuse people.
No, it totally makes sense, and it's awesome. It's like amazing, and I think that was awesome and powerful, and just yeah, I feel like people listening are going to be ready to take action and also want to learn more about you. So, where can they learn more about you, find you?
Yeah, if you are looking to move, feel, and perform your best physically and mentally, then, and that's important to you, and whatever we've talked about feels important or resonates in any way, if you have questions, reach out. My Instagram handle is therafit.fusion. So how the name works is it's therapy and fitness combined. So TheraFit Fusion. And then on Facebook, you can just search the same thing and it pops up. But there's like hundreds of videos of like simple, easy things you can do at work or before you work out or priming that you can just learn to incorporate into your day. And I'm pretty active on there too. So just ask questions and I'll be happy to answer them.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much. This is
Thanks
such
for
a
having
good
me. What a fun little ramble we did.
Yeah. I didn't ask like a bunch of the questions that I normally do.
I feel bad.
No, that's totally cool, because that means one, you're gonna have to come back for part 2 for me to dive in. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So I was totally cool with that. And that was what I was thinking. I was like, man, this is so cool because we didn't talk about the things that I normally talk about, which is awesome. Like that's, it's good to like dive deep into this. And we really went into the facets of
physical
so much
performance, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
For everyone.
So
it's
awesome.
for everyone. Yeah.
For everyone. Yeah. So
thanks for having me on,
so,
Nick.
Of course. I appreciate you. Appreciate all the amazing listeners out there. Remember, let's keep growing together.
Wait. One more thing. I would first like to say thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this message, please take a moment to write a review. By writing a review, it helps people find this message and helps me help more people. And if you really, really liked it, and you think this message could help someone else, take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, and please tag me at Nick J. Boni, NickJBoni, so I can show my appreciation for you. We can all win by helping each other grow. Thank you. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.